Welcome to Module 2 of Disaster Action Team Management. In Module 1, you learned how to prepare during steady state for leading a DAT response. You learned how to build a team, orient and train new DAT members, effectively manage challenges, give veteran members opportunities for professional development, recognize your volunteers, and learn from past experiences by using the after-action review process. In this module, you'll learn how to lead a disaster action team during a response. When you complete this module, you'll know key response operations roles and responsibilities, and how to build and lead a successful team, including delegating and coaching DAT responders. DAT response operations leadership roles include the regional leadership on call, the DAT duty officer, the DAT manager, and the DAT supervisor. Throughout this course, you'll have opportunities to experience how each interacts with the roles and program standards that comprise DAT. During steady state, DAT managers and DAT supervisors are strongly encouraged to serve as a DAT leader who helps to maintain the training, mentoring, and engagement of DAT members, and leads a culture of disaster action team readiness within the territory or chapter alongside fellow DAT leaders and DAT coordinators. In fact, an individual person usually fulfills a role in both steady state and operations. Disaster action teams sometimes deploy to large apartment complex fires. They often discover very hectic and fast-paced scenes. It can be especially challenging because, like many DAT responses, members may not have previously worked together. No matter what role you play on a DAT response operation, successful relationships form the foundation of the trust and support you need among your team members. Operations are often hectic and fast-paced. Team members who trust and support each other are less likely to experience misunderstandings that escalate into poor performance. Think about the qualities of successful relationships. One is empathy. Even with the best relationship-building skills, getting up to speed quickly as a team in a disaster environment can be challenging. Here are some tips to help you do this. Remember to make introductions. Some may have worked together before, but many may not have. It's important to clarify everyone's role as well. Quickly assess members' training and skills so that task assignments will be appropriate. Make sure all team members understand the chain of command. This is important for safety and efficiency. Yes, time is in short supply, but if you can continually assess whether to do certain tasks yourself or whether to delegate them to others, in the long run time is saved and team members feel valued. Meet Kayla, a DAT supervisor, and Jerry, a DAT service associate. They are both working on a DAT response operation. Since this is the first time Kayla has worked with Jerry, what should she do as she assigns tasks to him? On a DAT response operation, it is easy to get involved and forget you are a supervisor. Kayla remembers from her training that there are many benefits to delegating work on a DAT response operation. The goal of delegating, or empowering one person to act for another, is to foster leadership over task management. Kayla returns to her training notes regarding the benefits of delegating work. Effective leaders know that delegating goes together with coaching. Kayla has noticed Jerry could use some guidance on one of the tasks she has assigned him, conducting the initial client interview. She remembers a coaching model she learned in training. This technique can be used to teach a task, develop a skill, provide ongoing guidance and instruction, and assist workers in performing their best. Let's see how well she can remember the model in the following scenario. We'll review the 4-step coaching model at the end. It's the end of response debriefing, and Kayla refers to her observation notes of DAT Service Associate Jerry conducting an initial client interview. She noticed a few areas where he could use some coaching. How well did Kayla remember the 4-step coaching model? DAT leaders use feedback skills when they act as coaches and mentors with volunteers. Providing effective feedback is also an element of good communication that helps supervisors build cohesive teams. Giving effective feedback has a variety of benefits. It allows workers to know how well they are performing their jobs. It gives workers information about how they affect others. It helps keep worker performance on target. It encourages the exchange of information, and it can help avoid surprises at evaluation time if given early and often. There are 2 types of feedback, positive and constructive. Both types should have high performance as their goal, and both types occur on a response as well as during steady state. The way you give feedback can affect how or whether the volunteer accepts your feedback. Provide feedback about behavior over which the receiver has control. If the feedback is of a personal nature, be sensitive to the time and place. Often on a response operation, actions may be rushed and decisions are made very quickly. It makes giving feedback more challenging. DAT supervisors and managers often find themselves giving feedback when the opportunity arises, while going to or from a task, on the ride home, or even on a brief phone call after the response. You learned that the constructive feedback you give during a coaching session should be clear and specific. You also learned it's important not to put the DAT member on the defensive by asking first what they have noticed about their own performance. It gives them a chance to self-evaluate before receiving your feedback. An added challenge, the team makeup may change often, and the people delivering and receiving the feedback might be different each time. Providing constructive feedback is one component of a response operation that has certain challenges. Another component that has unique challenges is the remote management of a DAT response team. For example, when there is no on-scene DAT supervisor available, the most qualified DAT service associate acts as on-scene lead. A remote DAT supervisor is assigned to support the disaster action team. It may be difficult to adequately assess the issues that arise during the response. Frequent communication is key. A remote DAT manager has similar challenges. Since the DAT duty officer role is always remote, this volunteer needs to be able to use technology proficiently so they can communicate easily with volunteers. The Regional Leadership On-Call role provides remote supervision on a more complex operation. For example, when a response escalates to opening a shelter, remote leadership is often the more efficient way to handle it. This role has a level of knowledge and experience that can provide valuable coaching to the on-scene team as they perform tasks they may not be familiar with. Responder safety is of primary importance. DAT leadership is responsible for ensuring all safety standards are met and protocols are followed by DAT members. Chief among these, DAT responders should not enter any disaster scene that seems unsafe due to hazards or potential crime. DAT responders should know their destination prior to leaving for the event and always travel in pairs at a minimum.
DAT responders must notify me if there are any safety-related issues so I can take appropriate action, like notifying first responders or alerting other DAT members.
It's not uncommon for news media to show up on the scene during a disaster action team response. It is the DAT leadership's role to ensure all DAT responders have the basics of how to interact with the media. Additionally, all DAT responders should be knowledgeable of the guidelines for photography and use of social engagement sites such as Twitter and Facebook to share a story. Search social media guidelines and interview do's and don'ts on the exchange for more information. Congratulations! You have completed Disaster Action Team Management, Module 2. In this module, you learned about key response operation roles and responsibilities, and building a successful team, including delegating and coaching DAT members. Next up is Module 3, in which we turn our attention to operational considerations and managing complex responses.